check out the Patreon and gain access to all the source code. Hey, welcome back to this tutorial series, and this is part 5 of creating your own Paragon system. Let's head right back into it. So where we left off last time was creating the Paragon window open button system, or sorry, not system. What I'm talking about, I mean the UI button, and we added it to the menu button. So that's fine, and then we called it to show it. But we need some stuff we need to make to this button for making it better, and that is we need to make it draggable first. And then we need to make like a a tooltip for it too. So let's do that. So go over to the top here. Here we write local function, and since this function won't be used anywhere else than this UI script, we'll just make it a local function and call the name of the function. So make draggable, and the argument is the frame, so the thing we want to make draggable, and then end. So we now have the function for that. Let's just make the function for making the button tooltip. So local function add tooltip. And what we want to do is the button and text and end again. So now we got those two. Next, let's actually make the thing here, the button, or the frame rather, I would say, draggable. So first things off, we need to do is write frame, and we can write frame because we have the frame as an argument here. Frame register drag is an register for drag. Sorry, my bad. This is an event, or not event. Yeah, you could call it an event for the frame. So that would be whatever we pass in here to pick up if you try to drag. And inside here, you need to tell it what mouse button or whatever you want it to register a drag for. So for me, that would be left click. So left button, that's called in the API for WoW. So that's all left click. So if you hold it down and drag, that's what it registers for. Next is frame, again, colon, set movable, because we need to make it movable, correct? Yeah. So we set movable and write true. So now it can be moved. And next is just frame enable mouse true. So we always know that the mouse is enabled. Now comes the so-called fun part, is that we need to set up we need to set script 3 times. So frame colon set script, and then here this is on mouse down. So this registers for when the mouse button is held down on the button or the frame you're trying to move, comma, function like we did with the other stuff down here. So function, and here we write self and button again. Note, the button is the button that is held down. So if I hold my mouse over the button here and then I click my left click, it will register that this will be left click. So what we want to do first is that we don't want to just move no matter what the button is, so we want to check that this is actually for mouse button. So if button equals left button and not self dot is moving, then int. So what we are checking here is that we want two things to be true. So we want to make sure that when you drag around and hold down a button on your mouse over the frame here, we want to check that it's the left button. And if it is, then it also checks with the AND statement. It also checks if it's not already moving, because that would just mess it up if it's already moving and then you do it again and then again. So yeah, you get the picture. So what we want to do is self start moving so it can move, and then you say self colon, sorry, not colon, dot is, no, dot is moving to true. Oh, not tries, true. And that's all for the mouse button down, or on mouse down, sorry. I suggest you just copy this and then click Ctrl C, go down 2 and go down 2. So now we just have it copied and we will change it to fit what we need to do. So now the next function is on, or the next event is on mouse up. So when you stop holding down your mouse, what you want to do still is that you still want to check that we stopped holding down the left button. And then we want to check if it is moving. So only stop moving if it's already moving. Then you set this to false. And then you write remove this and write stop moving or sizing. And that's all for this. So the last thing is just on height. So on height, this is, here we don't need the button, we just need self. And we can remove the if statement because we need to redo it. If self dot it is moving, then end, and self dot stop moving or size, and self dot is moving. The unhide is because you can hide the button, so we don't want it to, like, let's say we had let's say someone or something didn't work out and we were moving the button and then it gets hidden. And while we're moving, we don't want the button to still be moving around when we hide it. So that's why we say on hit. So it only does this if it's moving. So now that's all for our function for making things trackable. Now let's go down to the tooltip. So you right button. You know what? I will just call this btn for a button. Just smaller, less code. The button. Colon, set script. We're gonna do some scripts more. And this on enter is when your mouse enters the button. So when it hovers over the button, basically. So it's a hover event. Dot, or comma, function again. And we do it like this, and we don't need any arguments there. Here, what we're gonna do is say game tool tip colon set owner, and we want it to be the button that's the owner, and then we want to anchor it to the right of the button. So if my mouse is here, it will anchor to the right of the button. So anchor, we see how to spell anchor, right? I think that's correct. Correctly spelled anchor though, that's it. So, and next we want to say game tool tip colon set text. So we want to set the text that it should use, and that's our argument text. And the last thing in here is just tooltip colon, we want to show with this uppercase S. We want to show the tooltip. Next, below here, what we want to do is just do button btn set script, and then we want to make it on leave, because when you leave, that means you stop hovering over the button. It shouldn't keep showing the text. Comma and function. And inside here, game tooltip hide. That's all you gotta do. So we hide it when you're not over the button anymore. And the reason we do this, and the reason we do the set owner, is because the game tooltip can only be used one place at a time. So you set the owner when you drag over something. So now it's attached, you could say, to the button and then anchored to the right, so it has the owner. Then we show the text and then we show it. And when you leave, you need to say hide, otherwise it doesn't hide. So now that's done, let's actually add it down here. So the great thing about this is, let's say we didn't add all of that code up there. What we would actually need to do then, we would need to take all of this code in here and then put it in the same button here. And we would need to do the same for like the main window of the UI and everything. And that's just hell. So always, if you can, cut it into smaller functions that can then do the stuff for you. It's just much cleaner code. So let me see here. So what we want to do now is that we actually want to make the thing draggable and make it work. So I'll just add it here. So button, or sorry, not button, make draggable. And here you just send the button. Now it makes it draggable. Next, you want to say add tooltip, and then you say button dot text Paragon System. Like that. Now it both adds the tooltip and it makes it draggable. So now the button is draggable. Let's test it in game. So let's do a flash reload. And okay, let's see here. What did I write incorrect? And to get this Lua error thing, I will put it down in the description how to do it, but you need to make a command or run a command slash console scriptErrors 1, then you get these Lua errors. So let me see what I did wrong. Line 10, probably misspelled something. Set move able, yeah. Move able, yeah. I misspelled it. That's my bad. I'm sorry for that. Let's reload, and you see now everything works, and even this time the button is here. And you can see when I drag my mouse over it, no matter where my mouse comes from, it will always anchor to the right of the button. And best thing is, I can even drag it now. So I can drag it down here, I can drag it down here, and I can click it if I want. And I can drag it up here. So now you can drag it, which was the whole thing we wanted to do. That's great. So now let's make some more stuff for it. Now you can just minimize these functions because no reason to look in them. We don't need anything anymore to do with these. We just need to call them. Now what we want to do is we actually want to do the awesome thing that's called creating the whole, like the frame, the UI window. So let's start off with that. So go down here, create a Paragon window, just a comment, function, Paragon System .ui .frames, sorry, the UI.functions .create Paragon window. Here we want to do some stuff. So let's first start with making the frame. So let's say local main frame and local main frame title, just to have the title object ready. Now, what we want to do is make the frame, and to do that, all you gotta do is it's like the same up here, but a bit different. Let me show you. So here we want to do main frame equals create frame. In here, what we want to do here is a frame. A frame is just like a window, you could say, comma, the frame name. And for frames like windows, I would suggest calling them something. So what I do is always, I know this will be located in the UI.frames.mainFrame. So I will call it frames and then main frame, comma, UI parent. As I explained before, this is just the whole game window. And then we again do a UI. This time we will use the template for the dialog template. So that's UI panel dialog template, like that. Next, what we want to do is we want to set the size of it. So that's mainframe colon the size as before, and in here you want to write a size. So let's set it to 450, 450, just for now. And then we want to set the point, mainframe colon the point. And since we just want it at the center and nowhere else, let's just say center. No reason to change it. And now we want to make the window draggable, so make draggable, call to that function with the main frame, and that's all. That's awesome. So now that code is done for the frame. That was quite fast, right? So let's make title now. So main frame title. Or before we do that, let me show you the working in game. So what you want to do is, now that this is a new function, you would want to add it down here first. So it's called. So, oh yeah, for now I will just like, for now I will show, we will remove this and move it into its own function. So don't worry about that. This is just to show you real quick it works. So like that. Then you write /reload. And here we have our frame. Now we want the title up here to be changed. So let us close it and then go back. Because if you don't write show, it will be hidden by default and you won't be able to open it because we haven't made the button open it yet. So next, what we want to do now is we want to make that frame title, main frame title dot, equals main frame create font string colon no, or not colon, no colon overlay in uppercase colon game font norm. So the reason we are doing it like this is that since we want this text to be anchored to the mainframe, we have the local or own variable holding it here. We then set that to equals the mainframe colon create font string, which creates a font. Oh, sorry, not a font, but a string, like a text object. And nil is the name. We don't want a name for it. Overlay is just the way it should be layered on top. Overlay is so it's actually on top of the mainframe. And the game font normal is just the normal standard font. You can also do, I think it's large or something, and you can do small. Just so everyone knows. And then we want to do the mainframe title, and we set point. And since we want to set the point of the text now, we want it at the top of the frame. So what we're gonna do is do quotes center, so we are at the center again of the window, comma, mainframe, because our text is anchored to the mainframe. It shouldn't be like shown when the frame is not opened. And then you say comma top, because we want it at the top. And comma again, 0, comma, -15. I'm moving it 15 down because otherwise it won't look correct. And then you say mainframe title, colon, set text, colon, and in here you say Paragon System, and that's what it will say in the title. But now we can actually, let me show you. If I remove the 15, -15, and we go back in, and we just make sure to show the mainframe like that, and save. And here we write reload, and now you can see the text is a bit too high, but that's the top, but we need it moved down just a bit. So that's why we do the -15. You need to play around normally with these values to figure out like what's the best way and stuff, but -15 is what works for like this frame. So we can just write reload, and now it's moved down and it's correct. So we now got our window. The last thing I want to show you today, I know this has been a long one, but the last thing we need to do is we need to add these frames, the mainframe title and such, into our table inside here. So we want to add them to the frames. Way you do that is actually really simple, like we did up here. We write Paragon System dot UI dot frames and another dot and call it mainframe equals mainframe. Paragon System dot UI dot text objects dot mainframe title equals mainframe, like that. And that's all. Now it's put into the mainframe title and we can always reference them. I hope this video helped you, and next video we will be looking at how we can actually show our menu when the user clicks a button. See you next time.